All right, we'll put aside sort of the semantics for a second, but what does it say that the argument has now come down to it's not fair? This isn't recess. Can't we may have a better argument?
Well, I think at the end of the day, the real conversation needs to be about where our priorities lay. When the conversation is about how we spend money, how we budget, it shows where our priorities are. And at the end of the day, making sure that kids have access to affordable health care, making sure that we have good education, and making sure that, the elderly have things like dental care and eye care, I think that's really the conversation that we need to be focusing on.
As you point out, governing is about priorities. It's about budgets. The Republicans have said $1.2 trillion is enough. We don't need the $3.5 trillion bill. Listen to Mitch McConnell.
First and foremost, we know their reckless legislation would hurt American families and actually help China. It's that simple, inflicting pain on American workers and families while putting us at a global disadvantage.
I know you're going to disagree with him on that point, but doesn't the fact that Manchin and Sinema are against this say perhaps Democrats actually need to negotiate on the $3.5 trillion bill rather than just continuing to whine about it?
Well, when it comes to Senator Sinema, I think we're all kind of up in the air and wondering where she stands on it because she hasn't publicly actually made a case for where she stands. When it comes to Senator Manchin, I think there's a conversation to be had about West Virginia and the constituents of West Virginia and the things that they need. And I think access to affordable health care is something that the people of Appalachia really need. And so Democrats need to figure out a way to come together and come to a compromise. It may not be $3.5 trillion, but it may be somewhere around $2.5 trillion or $2 trillion. Either way, we need to have a compromise. As you rightly
point out, things are going to have to come out of it. You make an interesting point about Senator Sinema because she was, I guess you can call her the victim of real harassment. People chased her into a bathroom, screamed at her, were recording her while she was using the facilities. And at the time, Cory Booker, senator from New Jersey, had his staff circulate a condemnation of that incident, saying, doesn't matter how you think about somebody's politics, you can't go chase people into bathrooms. Axios got a hold of some emails that Bernie Sanders refused to condemn Sinema's harassment without putting in this. They wanted written in a condemnation of her politics along with condemning the people who harassed her. While we hope Senator Sinema will change her position on prescription drug reform is what Bernie Sanders folks wrote back. That just, boy, you can't even condemn harassing a woman in the bathroom without having to make a political point? Is that fair?
Look, I don't think that following someone in the bathroom is appropriate, but I do think Senator Sinema owes it to the American public to tell us where she stands. The idea that she continues to be silent and only talks to lobbyists and people who are making donations to her is something that I think is something that people of Arizona clearly aren't supporting when you look at her poll numbers. And so I think while people need to be appropriate, there is an actual conversation about who her constituents are.
Yeah, at least we can agree that the bathroom is probably not the right place to have the conversation. Michael, good to see you, my friend.
Always.
Yeah,
take care.
Oh, for sure.